As of today, I have over 4,200 people in my family tree. And you know what? The vast majority of them are dead. D-E-D, dead. Take, for instance, my third great-grandfather, Herzl Hechler. Died 1893 of cholera in the city of Kolomaya, Ukraine. Or how about my third great-aunt, Esther Danse, struck by a trolley near her house in Brooklyn. And if you want a really disturbing one, how about my second great-aunt, Zelma Cohn, fell into a boiling vat of water at her father's tailor shop at the age of 3. Let's face it, death is coming for all of us. It's coming for me. It's coming for you. Some 94+% of all people who have ever existed in the world have died. And there's no reason to think that this is going to change anytime soon. But you know what? Genealogy would be nothing without death. In fact, I would go so far as to say it's the main reason why we preserve the past. And that's what I want to talk to you about today. I'm Yona Paley, and believe it or not, I believe genealogy is fun. And today, we're going to be having a little conversation about, well, you figured it out. One of the sad truths of genealogy is that things get lost to time. Documents are destroyed in wars, in fires, natural disasters. People hold on to little bits of information throughout their entire lives and never pass them on to anybody else, taking it with them to the grave. We are very lucky to be in what is the greatest time ever for accessibility of information. You can go to your local library or browse the internet and find all sorts of information about the past. But clearly, not everything that can be found is neatly organized, indexed, and readily available for you to find. If that was the case, then genealogists and historians would be completely out of a job. If you do genealogy as either a hobby or profession or both, you're doing something very, very important, which is that you're preserving a piece of history. Now, I know what you're thinking. Of course the guy with a channel called Genealogy is Fun is hyping up genealogy and talking about how what he and all of his friends are doing is so important. What a bunch of self-important hogwash. Well, to that, I say, we have a sense of responsibility as family researchers, because the stuff that we find will be potentially used by other people in the future. Let's face it, most people don't want to put in hours and hours of work into going through every single source that you've checked to verify whether it's accurate or not. And this is completely normal. I mean, I would trust the findings of an archaeological dig without, having scrutinized every single little bit of information under a microscope. I trust that person because they're a professional. When people have experience, for the most part, we trust them. So that's why it's super important when conducting our own research that we do it in a way that earns the trust of others. In 500 years, when everybody on this earth is long dead and gone, the info should still be available for people who want to find it. So how can we do this? Well, in my mind, there are two main ways. The first is to scrutinize every little bit of our findings, even when it means that we're not making progress. There's nothing sexy about being stuck at a brick wall. No one likes it. But you know what's 1,000 times worse than being stuck at a brick wall? Is having false or misleading information on our trees. We see this time and time again on public sites like Ancestry, Genie, and WikiTree, where people look at the information and say, well, 10 other people have the same tree. Why should I bother doing the research? And the answer is because the last 9 people thought the exact same thing. Now, I would say 90% or more of the time, this is not done maliciously. We all make mistakes. In fact, I've had to delete hundreds of people from my tree due to little errors of judgment that were easily avoidable, and it doesn't feel good. But when we make a mistake, we admit it and we delete the info immediately. Because there's nothing worse than misleading other people, even if it's not on purpose. Now, the other thing that we can do to help preserve the stuff that we find, besides for accuracy, is to make our findings as publicly available as possible. Contrary to what I said a moment ago, I believe public trees are actually a phenomenal thing because they're probably our best bet at having long-term genealogical preservation. I'm talking, decades or centuries into the future. So there's nothing wrong with maintaining stuff on a public tree as long as it's fact-based and backed up by evidence. Most of us do genealogy to satisfy some personal desire for knowledge and also because it's fun, like solving a puzzle. I feel like a detective every single day that I do research. But arguably, the work we put in has a much greater value for the billions and billions of people who are not even born yet. We will be long dead, but if done right, genealogy will have a huge impact on the future generations who are trying to learn about their family histories. And that wraps up this video. If it wasn't too depressing for you, please be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. We recently hit over 100 subscribers to the channel, so thank you so much for all of your support. We are just getting started. I'm always looking forward to bringing you more videos about famous Jews as well as tips and tricks that you can use in your own genealogy research. So take it easy, and we'll see you next time.